Hello YouTube and welcome to Prime Productions. I'm here to help enhance your tabletop gaming experience. If you're new to this channel, I primarily focus on tabletop role-playing games like Pathfinder and Starfinder. So it's that time again. Almost every month, Paizo puts out a live stream called Paizo Live. Here they talk about their upcoming projects and hype new things and releases coming down the pipeline. You can find these videos on Twitch, link in the description below. But I also like to do a brief summary of them for those who don't want to sit through a 2-hour live stream on Twitch with a bunch of advertisements, so let's go. So listen, writing a script and doing video editing, it takes time. If I want to get this out in a timely manner, I'm gonna have to do this unscripted without a whole lot of interesting things to look at. Remember, I'm doing this without a script, so there may be some ums or uhs here and there, and I may misspeak. Price you pay for a quick turnaround. And to reiterate, the link to the full official video will be in the description below. So they started off with some initial banter, and then they geared up to ask for GMs for upcoming conventions. They also said signups for PaizoCon GM volunteers should be coming out shortly. I always volunteer to GM at PaizoCon, so, check it out if interested. Then they started off by speedrunning a couple of upcoming books. They started talking about Guns and Gears Remastered, and this is an interesting thing. If you have the PDF or digital copy for Guns and Gears, you will get the remastered version for free, the digital copy, I mean. Now remember, Paizo is a company. They didn't have to do this. They still have to make money at the end of the day, so it's really awesome that they did this. They said the release date for Guns and Gears Remastered should be February 5th. The website does say late January, so maybe a slight delay, but not that bad. I am on the list to get a review copy, so I should be able to review it as soon as it comes out. Remastered Treasure Vault will be coming out in June, and they said that it should be getting the same treatment as Guns and Gears, so I think that means if you have a copy of Treasure Vault digitally, then you will get a free copy of Remastered Treasure Vault digitally as well. So again, that's really awesome of Paizo. They mentioned that there are going to be sketch covers for both of those sold at exclusively Paizo.com or friendly local gaming stores, so you won't be able to get the sketch covers from big box stores or Amazon or anything, so if you want to support your friendly local gaming store, that's how you would do it. Then they moved on to the Starfinder playtest wrap-up. As a reminder, Starfinder playtest is over, so they talked about some stuff. First of all, unfortunately, the Starfinder Mechanic and Technomancer playtests have been slightly delayed. They should be coming out around spring. They initially said early January, but it's around spring now. They did say that they are doing some serious internal testing of those classes to make sure that they are pretty good when they come out. Then they revealed the Starfinder Player Core cover art, including a new dragon called an Akashic Dragon, which is like the Laser Eyes Dragon. Seems pretty awesome to me. Now, reminder, Pathfinder and Starfinder are cross-compatible, and they said that the GM core will have rules for incorporating Pathfinder and Starfinder games together, like Alchemists in Outer Space or Solarians on Golarion. By the way, they made a joke about Solarians on Golarion being a new children's book that they're going to develop. That's not true, that was just a joke. Then they moved on to wrapping up the playtest in general. Remember that there are 3 waves of errata for the playtest, and then a blog talking about other changes. They said that they're going to revisit the multi-armed trait that Kasatha and Skittermander have, because it was kind of underwhelming for a lot of people. They're going to be adding new equipment, like the fire extinguisher that they said was lacking in the playtest. They said that they're going to add some higher-level hacking toolkits that allow hacking at a distance. They shared a funny story about how one grenade in the book accidentally had its price listed as its damage, meaning that the grenade did 13,000 damage. Sadly, they changed it. They did say that a lot of people wanted more weird, crazy weapons, and that will be coming in the Galaxy Guide. They wanted the core rulebook to have kind of the basic stuff to not scare off new players. Speaking of the Galaxy Guide, that is actually coming out before the player and GM cores for Starfinder. It's going to contain a lot of lore about Starfinder 2nd Edition, including changes, including the newborn hatching from Octurne and the war between the Vesk and the Aslanti. The book is organized by what kind of adventures can you have there, so there will be a section on best places to have space horror games and best places to have exploring the unknown games, that kind of stuff. The Galaxy Guide will have 6 new ancestries. We already know that the Contemplative, Dragonkin, Kalo, who are underwater people, and Astrozoan, who are shapeshifters, will be in the book. The book also might contain Sarcesians or Sarkeesians, depending on how you pronounce it. This artwork is in the book depicting Sarcesians, but it's unclear if they will actually be a playable race in the book. They were a playable race in Pathfinder 1st Edition, though. They mentioned that there's going to be a space pirate archetype where they can kill someone and then press gang their soul, capturing it and forcing it to do work for them, so that sounds pretty horrific and or awesome. The space pirate will use a phase cutlass which can do slashing or void damage and is kind of like the dark saber from Star Wars. It seems like the space pirate will be based on using this phase cutlass. They also mentioned that there will be a xenoarchaeologist archetype, images on screen now of some NPCs named Zazensi, and that the xenoarchaeologist archetype will be in the Galaxy Guide. Also, Starfinder Agent is an archetype that will be in the Starfinder core book. After that, they went on to talk about the new adventure path Spore War for Pathfinder. This is the Elves vs. Demons adventure path. It starts off with the players visiting a peace summit to deal with Tar Bafon, which is a completely different bad guy altogether, but then pivots to take down Tree Razor when Tree Razor becomes the big problem of the time. Now, Tree Razor is a creature 25, meaning that he should not be beatable by a standard level 20 group of adventurers. He has like a plus 47 to hit, and if he crits you, you are stunned to no save. Also, once around, he can just dispel magic anything he hits, so pre-fight buffs fall off fast. I'm sure some of you will say that you could one-shot him or whatever, but he is designed to not be beatable by a standard group of level 20 adventurers. Anyway, the adventure involves building up resources specifically to depower Tree Razor and to empower yourself or your adventuring party to fight him. Interesting notes, Tree Razor was originally the big bad of one of James Jacobs' Dungeons & Dragons campaigns back in the 80s. They said that this is going to be a high-powered but non-mythic adventure. Some behind-the-scenes playtest stuff, they actually designed several characters to beat Tree Razor and then assumed the best possible outcome of the adventure path where the players got all the stuff that they needed and depowered Tree Razor, and the team was able to beat him in 2 rounds with no one going down, but then they redid that fight where the players didn't have any of the cool resources and it was a TPK, so take from that what you will. Also, one last thing, in the adventure path you meet the Queen of the Elves, and Shalilu, a prominent elven NPC, is going to be in the adventure path. She's been in several other pieces of Pathfinder stuff before. Then they briefly talked about some upcoming adventure paths. Shades of Blood is the next one coming out after Spore War. It's a Vampire Hunter style AP, and then after that is Myth Speaker, a low-level mythic game. They strongly hinted that there will be a sequel adventure path somewhere down the line that will be a high-level mythic game. Remember that in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, mythic stuff is separated into 2 sections, the 1 to 10 section and the 11 to 20 section, so that's why they split it up that way. Then they moved on to talking about the Lost Omens Shining Kingdom, which is a new Lost Omens book coming out. Shining Kingdoms are kind of the most standard medieval fantasy section of Pathfinder. It is an area of Golarion that consists of Andrin, which is like this democracy-based country, Druma, which is this mercantile-based country that's full of super rich jerks, the Five Kings Mountain, which are the dwarves, Galt, which is basically revolutionary France if the revolution has been going on for 100 years. They said that the revolution is dying down and it's starting to become stable. We'll see how long that lasts. And then finally the Elven Nation of Keonan, which is where all the Spore War stuff takes place. The cover of Shining Kingdoms has a new dragon called a Cinder Dragon. It's kind of like the new version of a Red Dragon, only stepping away from the OGL stuff. It sounds like it will be a Primal Fire Dragon. The stat block may not be in the Shining Kingdoms book, but they said that we will get the stat block for the Cinder Dragons by the end of the year. They said that a lot of the Shining Kingdoms book is centered around the changes that happened after War of Immortals, so the book is a familiar setting, but with all of the new changes from War of Immortals. A couple of minor things were mentioned, like the leader of Andrin is reaching her term limits. By the way, there are term limits in Andrin, and so she's trying to solve all the War of Immortals problems before she leaves office. They said that the book will contain new archetypes like the Lionblade and Eagle Knights, and that there's going to be a new familiar called a Grindle Drake. After that, there was a Q&A section. I mostly talked about all the Q&A stuff back in the appropriate section, but they did want to really hammer home that the Starfinder GM Core will have a section about how to integrate Pathfinder and Starfinder materials, so really want to hammer that home. But let me know about your thoughts in the comments below. Anything new or interesting catch your attention? And while you're leaving a comment, make sure to like and subscribe. That tells me, as well as YouTube, that you like this kind of content and would like to see more. And until next time, thank you, good luck, and happy gaming!